Hey there, friends. Welcome to episode number 90 of It'll Be Fine. I'm your friend and your pal, Kelly Zemnickis. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've also got my two favorite dudes here, Leonard Cohen and Carrie Griffin, and the Christmas tree. Yay! This is a good episode today. I mean, everyone is, but I'm super excited for today, especially because I am joined by my dear, dear friend, Mark Selby. Mark is a TV producer, an accomplished TV producer. He's also an accomplished musician, and may get him to do a little tune at the end of this one today. But I've known Mark for a very long time. We met working on a classic Canadian TV series called Royal Canadian Air Farce. And I'm so glad he's joining us today to talk food, to talk New York City, one of our favorite cities. May coerce him into explaining the game dreidel for me, because I have had a dreidel, gosh, since like 1981. A friend gave it to me at school. I'm not Jewish, but a friend gave me one year, and I don't know how to play, so fingers crossed he will explain. But we are in for a very good time nonetheless. And on today's show, we are offering some love, offering some attention to Food Banks Canada. Info on them is in the show description. If you are able, please give them a hand. So guys, get ready. We got the tree, we got Carrie, we got Leonard, me, Mark Selby. Clearly, it is going to be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Thank you.
If I hadn't sung it, you wouldn't have it in your head.
I might have.
Oh, just from the mask on its own.
Might have, just seeing B. Arthur's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you sing Golden Girls and I sing Maud.
Okay. But neither of us sing anything from the Star Wars Holiday Special. Oh,
Or from Fiddler on the Roof.
fair.
She was the original Yenta, the matchmaker.
B. Arthur was the original. I did not know that.
In the original Broadway production. You're listening to the opening number and it's all ensemble singing, and then Zero Mostel as Tevye says, he introduces all the different people in the village. And then he says, we have all of our characters who make Anatevka unique, like Yenta the matchmaker. And then suddenly the voice of B. Arthur comes booming over the hi-fi. And you're like, that is unmistakably B. Arthur.
I did not know that. I love your fountain of knowledge of musical.
Pretty fountain of useless knowledge.
Some may say useless. I say useful.
I don't even think, even if I was like a contestant on Jeopardy, that obscure kind of stuff wouldn't even come up.
Would it have on Rock and Roll Jeopardy?
No. Well, I mean, unless it was like the category was like rock musicals, but nobody would put Fiddler on the Roof in the category of rock musicals.
Oh, it would be a book.
But forward by John Morgan.
Oh, that's classic Canadiana.
Yeah, so I was in the mood for it. I thought I'd try it.
Well, that's how our paths crossed was Air Farce, back in the day. Remember craft services?
Yes, I remember your brother doing craft services.
My brother did do craft services for a wee bit, but
your brother Kevin, and he kept trying to push South of Bluer on all of us. No, I'm just kidding.
Should. They're a great band.
They are a great band.
Now on Spotify, they broke up, but you can still get their music. But that's like one thing about these days that just because you and I have been working on shows during the past few months of pandemic times, and
we have.
You're your own craft services now.
Yeah. Well, COVID wise, you can't provide on set unless, like in catering, individual meals have to be boxed and there's no trough like we used to have for catering our the big buffet style meal. And that's obviously gone. Yeah. And there's no, the other thing too, is there's also limited to no paperwork on set. So This pandemic is saving a lot of things, such as trees.
It has been good for the environment. I can see clearer off the balcony. I mean, those have been.
I mean, there's less congestion
Yeah.
on the road, so that helps too, I think. And
That's true.
I've been saying to people, I think that what's going to come of this, and I know this is exactly why you wanted to talk to me today, is to hear my opinions on all of this. I think what's going to really be affected after all this sort of blows over is commercial real estate.
Ooh, yeah.
Because offices don't need as much space if people have proven now that they can work from home and be productive. So if you're yeah, you're all dressed up. Why are we dressed up, Kelly?
It's episode 90.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. This was a fun show to do before the world shut down, and it's been great to do during these times, because then I get to see friends and sometimes bake, or in this case today, have a chat, which I dig. Have you been going to any certain like junk food or snack food over the past few months, maybe a bit more than usual?
Yes, I have put on the COVID-19. What an original line. No, I have. You know what? It's funny. Before all this happened,
Yeah.
we weren't buying soft drinks for the house. I would still have them outside the house, but not inside. And I had stopped buying like dessert type foods to have in the house.
Yeah.
Just to try to like cut back. And it's, if I'm buying a Subway sandwich and I make it a meal and I get cookies or chips with it, fine. But, I don't need to have it around the house. But the first shop that we did after the first lockdown in March, we thought, well, we might as well enjoy the next couple of weeks. Let's treat ourselves. We'll get I like Diet Coke. Okay, so we'll get some Diet Coke and we'll get some treats to have around the house. And then as the lockdown went on, I just kept buying that stuff. So
Yeah.
And shout out to It'll Be Fine episode guest Naomi Zemnickis, because I did try your Katharine Hepburn brownie. Funny thing though, I had bookmarked the recipe from the New York Times ages ago.
Yeah.
And I had never made it. And then when you and Naomi made it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna try it. And
Good.
I've made those at least 2 or 3 times in the last 9 months.
I love it.
And I'm not a nut person in brownies either,
Mhm.
but they work in Katharine Hepburn's recipe.
The woman knows. She knew a brownie. That is hands down the best brownie.
It's so good. And I'll tell you what other baking I've done too, because it's relevant to the show that you're doing is called It'll Be Fine, a baking show. I have been baking buns with a recipe provided online by Jenny Jones.
The TV show host?
The TV show host, the stand-up comedian, that she's had multiple lives. She's now an online influencer and has her own baking channel on YouTube. And she has this great recipe for buns where you don't need a cast iron pot. You don't need anything special. You make it the night before, and then you pop it in the oven the next morning.
Speaking of, I just looked at the calendar. Hanukkah begins at sundown tonight.
Yes, it does. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Oh my, that's good timing on my part. I didn't.
Yeah.
It's happened. It's ironic because I didn't do this. Like I love how things just fall into place as they do. But I have had this, genuinely, I have had this item I'm about to show since 1981.
Whoa.
Okay.
You weren't even born yet.
I know, it's weird.
I know.
My dreidel.
Oh.
I got this in grade school. I am not Jewish, friends. I am not. But my friend gave me a dreidel gift. I'll be honest, I don't know how to use this.
Oh,
She told me back then, and I don't remember. But how does this come into play during Hanukkah, Mark?
so it's a children's game. It's a betting game, basically. Everyone has chocolate money or gelt,
Yes.
as it's called. Gelt, the literal translation for gelt is money, but it's chocolate money that all the kids get. And so you bet, coins, chocolate coins, and then you spin the dreidel on a flat surface, not on the edge of your finger because there's not a lot of room for it to go. But you spin it on the surface, and then based on what Hebrew letter it lands face up, that's what you do. So you either, so they're all Hebrew letters. So Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin are the letters. You're actually you're spinning it. Spin it the other way because it's Hebrew. So it actually goes. There you go. That's the order that it goes in. So right there, the one. Oh, go back a second. There you go. So that's the letter Nun, and that means nothing. So nothing happens. It's just lose a turn basically. Gimel means you take everything in the pot.
Okay.
The letter Hey means you take half of what's in the pot. And the letter Shin means you put into the pot. So you sort of forfeit money, chocolate money.
Oh, and I have this on tape now.
And if you're really skilled at it, I really hope I got that right because I obviously haven't played dreidel in a very long time. But if you're very skilled at spinning a dreidel, you can actually. I've been known to impress people at parties by spinning the dreidel upside down, spinning it on the handle.
Oh.
Yeah. If I can find a dreidel, I can try doing it here for you just to see if
I can't give you mine. Although you're not that far from me, but I'm not leaving my apartment.
No, but if you put that in an Uber right now, by the time we're done talking, here's what I say.
Yeah.
The big Jewish holidays are the ones that have passed. A couple of them have passed during this pandemic. The first in the spring was Passover, Pesach, when families usually get together. You eat. There's a seder, a big meal, and anyway, without getting into the details, that's a very renowned holiday for organizing and for family get-togethers. And of course, there are what are referred to as the high holidays or the high holy days, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah being the start of the new year, which usually happens around September, late September, and Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement when you atone for all your sins of the past year. So if you're Catholic, you go every time you sin, you go to confession, and it's not a very good use of your time. Jewish, get it all done in one day. I mean, you sit in shul for most of the day, and you really atone, but you have a clean slate for the new year. So Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur are the three, I would say, of the three of the biggest Jewish holidays of the year, and those all had to be done on Zoom. So think of the 80 and 90-year-old grandparents who are not familiar with technology, who now suddenly had to become very familiar with technology because families were not getting together for those holidays. Synagogues were not holding in-person services. And I know Christmas is a big holiday for other people. For me, it's a Tuesday. It's a day when everything
Friday.
It's a Friday this year. Well, you know what I mean. It's just whatever day of the week it falls on. For me, it bears no significance other than I can't do anything that day because everything is closed. So, as most Jewish people do, we do Chinese food and a movie because that's basically all that's available to you, and we love it. We have a group of us who get together and we just normally we do that. We obviously won't be doing that this year, although maybe each of us will order in Chinese food and eat it over Zoom, and at least we'll be able to retain the social aspect of that. But all I mean to say is that I know Christmas is a holiday because of the way it impacts society and the calendar and schedules, work and school. It's a much bigger holiday than that. You can't compare it to any kind of Jewish holiday or any other holiday that exists on any of the cultural calendars. It's huge and it's significant. But I do feel to a certain extent that if there is a need to skip Christmas this year in order to keep numbers down, I think it's important that people do that. And I would point to the fact that the Jewish community, although these three big holidays came and went, we managed to, the word of 2020, the community managed to pivot and to create online celebrations. And I think that's what should happen with Christmas, Although we'll see what the numbers are early in the new year and see if people, followed the recommendations of public health authorities.
And get-togethers. I'm remembering the sweet CanCon events that you would host at your apartment, where we would gather and watch Canadian TV and have snacks.
Yes.
I miss those. Grape soda. I miss the grape soda.
Wait, specifically Faygo, the cheapest available grape soda.
Oh, those were good times, getting together and watching like celebrity cooks.
Yes. Well, just for the benefit of the viewers, I have a small collection of classic television on VHS and DVD stuff that's accumulated over the years, and that weird people on the internet also collect. And so I've been able to. I don't consider myself one of those weird people on the internet. I sort of feel I'm on the periphery, but I do tap into the amazing resources of the people on the internet to obtain copies of a lot of shows. For a while, I was really trying to get a fairly sizable collection of Canadian game shows. Stuff that wasn't being rerun. That's the problem with Canadian TV, right? It doesn't get rerun anywhere. There are no DVDs. There are no. In America, they have a museum in America, the Paley Center for Media, devoted to the history of televised and broadcast content. They have cable channels. They have home media. They have streaming. I mean, so many resources where you can tap into archival and legacy content. And in Canada, we have very little of it. So we used to get together. You, me, Michael Anthony, Renee, sometimes Rob. There'd be others that would join us. They came and went, but we were, I think, the core group.
We were the group, yeah.
And we would enjoy classic shows, either shows that we remembered watching from our childhood that we haven't seen since because they don't exist anywhere, right. Or we would find copies of shows from the remote corners of the World Wide Web. You mentioned Celebrity Cooks. That's right, Bruno Gerussi's cooking show. By special request, Kelly made a request once for a show called Celebrity Tennis, which, as you may recall, we did watch, and it was exactly what it was: celebrities playing tennis.
I had such high hopes for Celebrity Tennis because I remember like the classic ABC, NBC Battle of the Network Stars days.
Right.
Like high impact action. And there was none of that in Celebrity Tennis.
No, it was about as enthralling as sort of watching like a golf game on TV. Like it was really sedate. You've done a few of these, at least 89 of them.
I've done at least 89, at least. Is there one spot that like if things were just perfect and all was well to travel, is there one joint in New York you really wish you could go to like right now? You really miss in New York?
So you know what? Yeah, I thought about that. There is a place, and then I looked it up, and apparently it closed. And actually, a few places that I'd been thinking of, I sort of looked up to see if they were still around, and a lot of them have closed either very recently, like just prior to the pandemic, but a number of them have closed, I assume, as a result of the pandemic. And so it'll be very different. A lot of those favorite places that I like to go to, I don't know if they'll still be there. Like one of my favorite places in New York, and I don't know if you've been to, I wonder if we've been there together. We might have met up there once. Did we ever go to the City Bakery?
Oh, I don't believe we did. We've done a few meetups like after Broadway shows, met at like a local bar near a certain theater, but I don't think you and I have ever done City Bakery when we've been in town.
So City Bakery was down on 18th Street. I just learned that they are closed. I think they were one of the ones that closed before the pandemic. Yeah. But City Bakery was really known for a couple of things. One is hot chocolate. The most delicious hot chocolate I've ever had in my life, and with their homemade marshmallows, these giant marshmallow-like cubes. It almost looks like an ice cube, the marshmallow and the hot chocolate. It was astoundingly good, and their pretzel croissants were also delicious.
Man, that sounds good.
And I would love nothing more than that in itself could be a meal. Just a pretzel croissant, a nice heavy hot chocolate was all I needed to get me through a morning, but I won't be able to go back to that. And the last time I went, one of the last times I went to New York, there was a place in Brooklyn, a smoothie place called Siggy's, and I used to love to get a smoothie from Siggy's. They had a great like acai berry kind of smoothie, and I would get it, and they were located right near the Brooklyn Bridge, so I'd buy a smoothie and then I'd take it and walk across the Brooklyn Bridge with it. And they're closed. They've been closed a while now. And then a lot of like just like the classic places in New York that I loved to go to, whether it was the Carnegie Deli, which was a classic, and deli is, you know, it runs in my blood. Literally, like if you cut open a vein, you'll get schmaltz. And anyway, there's an amazing documentary they made about the Edison, about the Cafe Edison, the last week that it was operating. And the document, it's a short documentary called The Last Blintz. If it's available anywhere online, I highly recommend it, especially just as a nostalgia factor. But I mean, it was the great equalizer. There would be Broadway producers making a deal in one corner of the room, Broadway actors eating there before a show, tourists from the Midwest or from other countries eating there. Like, it was just this amazing place that just did not discriminate, and the food was good and reasonably priced. And what more can you ask for? And that's been gone for a few years too. I say these things like I'm just like a obviously I'm into nostalgia, given that I have old episodes of Celebrity Tennis available at the ready when people want it. But I mean, New York obviously has a lot of good food to offer, but you know, it's always the places that you remember going to and go back to.
I gotta look up this one deli I went to with my mom. I'm just trying to find, I think, oh, that might be the episode. We don't need to watch the episode. Oh crap, I should have written this down like you're all prepared. But there's a deli in the Bronx. I think it's called Lieberman's. But I saw it on an episode of Parts Unknown with the late Anthony Bourdain. And when I was in New York once with my mom, I was in town for a show, and she came along. And we found this deli. We got on the bus, got on a route we didn't know, ended up there, had one of just the best meals ever. And it turned out that our server was the guy who served Mr. Bourdain in that episode. And he shared lovely stories. And
so nice.
Yeah.
When I took Renee to Serendipity 3, they sat us without asking and without slipping them any money. They sat us at John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale's table.
Oh my goodness!
Which was very romantic and a great way for me to be able to introduce a restaurant to Renee that she hadn't been to, but I had been to before.
That frozen hot chocolate, the first time I had it, at the time, I was hypoglycemic. My blood sugar has now stabilized and my body's back on track. But at the time, I had a blood sugar issue. And maybe not the best dessert option I could have gone for. But
good point, yeah.
Oh, it was so good. We ran from Serendipity 3 back down to our hotel pen. Like, we just ran. I was so high on sugar. It was so good.
No, so like, anyway, but I'm trying to think of the places that are still open that I would like to go to. Well, okay, we're talking about like Times Square. Because we, you know, a lot of my evenings when I'm visiting New York are based around seeing theater. And although I love nothing more than avoiding Times Square whenever possible, it's unavoidable if you're going to a Broadway show. But a lot of the tourists just kind of congregate like in Times Square proper and in the restaurants sort of on the surrounding streets. You know, if they venture to an avenue, they usually go to 8th Avenue. But some of the great restaurants are on like 9th and 10th Avenues. If you're willing to walk the extra block, you're that much further away from the tourists. And you get some amazing restaurants like, well, first of all, if we're talking diners, so the Edison's not there anymore, but there's the Cosmic Diner at 8th and 52nd.
Yep.
Love it. And the Westway at 9th and 43rd. Which just by virtue of being one further block away, I feel like you get like I actually had a Jackie Mason sighting at the Westway, and what could be more New York than seeing Jackie Mason at a diner in New York City?
That's worth the plane ticket.
But on 9th they have all these. I mean, it's just restaurant after restaurant. And did you ever go to? There's a great Thai restaurant called Yum Yum Bangkok.
No.
And they were so popular, they had a bunch of locations all within the same like 2 blocks, like around 9th and 45th, 46th. If you walked up the east side of 9th Avenue, there every few, I think they had at one point 3 locations, at least 3 locations in those same 2 blocks. Like they couldn't expand next door, so they would expand just a few blocks up the street.
Yeah.
But the one that was right on the corner at like around 9th and 45th or 46th, there was one on the corner. I think it's actually called Yum Yum 2, TOO, like as a sort of a sequel. But they used to have this amazing lunch special, and you could just go and get like an appetizer and a noodle dish, like a pad thai, and a drink, and it would all be like under $10 or something. Like one of the best deals you could get in New York, but delicious. Yeah.
I miss being there. I miss just wandering, finding a new joint to go check out, or going to like a favorite, getting a knish on Houston.
Yeah.
Like Houston and Second or something like that. Yeah, I miss.
Yeah, the discovery part of New York is the best. I mean, I thought I had made such a great discovery when I found Mamoun's, which is, falafel, on St. Mark's Place. And they have a few locations. There's one right near the Comedy Cellar. But I thought that was such a great discovery. And when I mentioned it to somebody, of course, they're like, yeah, everyone knows Mamoun's. There's a bunch of them. It's not like, all right, yeah. All right, Canada.
You're trying to drop your knowledge. They're like, whatever.
Yeah.
All good.
This little hole-in-the-wall sandwich shop called Subway. Yeah, we get it. All right.
Yeah. Well, when you got your favorites, you got your favorites.
Yeah.
It's like every summer, except for this year, go to the CNE, get my Tiny Tom donuts. There is one donut cart I go to at the X. I know there's a ton of spots at the CNE to get Tiny Tom donuts, but I go to the one near the Princess Gates.
Oh, right.
Across from it's kind of, maybe not there. It's the Tiny Tom's across from the food building. I feel like it's towards the Princess Gates, but I could be wrong. Or at least the tram where you get dropped off. But yeah, you've got like your specific spots you go to, right? So.
Yeah. And since you mention it, that's as you may know, Tom himself died earlier this year, which is very sad. I've known his son Adam for a while, and so I felt awful because Adam is a performer, and so I'd often see his parents at his shows, and I would sometimes play piano for Adam at his show. So it was great it was always great to see them. And I just felt awful because he wasn't that old, and he's a Toronto. He's as much a Toronto landmark as an Ed Mirvish or a Harry Rosen or what have you. He's just a lot more understated and quiet because he sort of hides behind the caricature of the Tom with the hat and the thing and the.
Yeah. It wasn't the same summer without those donuts. I'm a fan. But this has been awesome to talk to you today about food and such things. And
thanks for having me. If people didn't tune out in the part where we talked about celebrity tennis, then I hope they found the second part interesting.
Do you want to do a little ditty on piano, or do you want to?
I am all dressed up.
May as well give us a song. It's episode.
Any requests?
90. Let's see.
Now keep in mind the piano is out of tune. No, it is. It needs a tuning, but we haven't brought a tuner into the house for COVID times.
I don't have nothing's popping to mind. I've been humming all morning. Don't get around much anymore.
Oh yeah. Why that song?
I don't know. I'm not really going anywhere much these days, I guess.
Fair.